You're listening to the In Search SEO podcast by Rank Ranger.
That's right. You are listening to the In Search SEO podcast. The podcast that paints a town red with succulent search marketing insights. Legend. That's right. Legend. The SEO legend, Bill, I know everything there is to know about Google patent Slawski, joins us today for a sweeping look at what patents tell us about search. So we're getting into how to approach a Google patent, why the information within patents is incredibly important for doing SEO, and what trends the patents have revealed about what Google is looking for. But first, I'm going to kick about how content is changing and how Google just released something that's set to change the content landscape forever. Here's why top-level content, top-of-the-funnel content will die a horrific death by the SERP. I am your host, Mordy Oberstein, and I am joined by she who still loathes sarcasm, Sapir Carabello.
Yep, that's me. Totally hate sarcasm.
You sound so serious. You are serious.
Yeah.
You are not being sarcastic. I don't believe you.
Don't believe me.
I don't.
I don't care.
I know. Sure you do. Deep down you care. Deep down you care a lot.
I really don't.
A lot. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. What's new in your life?
Nothing is new in my life.
Every time I ask you this, like, you cannot get it. You must be like,
no
someone
life.
takes you out on a date. I'm like, and they're be like, okay, hi Sapir, nice to meet you. How are you? I am good. What do you do all day? I work. Do you like work? Yes. What else do you like? Things. Great. You are a great conversationalist.
Yeah, I know. Thanks.
Okay. Great.
Okay. How are you though?
I have a giant headache.
Oh, okay.
Ask me if it's Corona.
Oh, Morty.
Come on. Ask me if it's Corona.
I don't. Is it Corona?
No, it's children. It's definitely not Corona. My 2-year-old and my 4-year-old have been on a rampage. This past weekend was intense. It was intense. They were spilling things, climbing up things. They pulled out every article of clothing from my closet and then mixed it with the dirty laundry. So I don't know what's clean, what's dirty anymore. Good thing I work from home.
That's hilarious.
Even the
kids.
they're very cute. Oh, they are very, very cute. They are like the cutest.
Yeah.
But they're terrorists. Even the bigger ones are like, can we send them back to their home planet? I'm like, if you can fit them back up there, you can. But they're not going to fit.
Oh, sounds like you're having fun, though.
Every day, another day in paradise. Do not forget, we put out a new episode of the In Search SEO podcast each and every Tuesday. You can find it on Stitcher, you can find it on Spotify, you can find it on SoundCloud, you can find it on iTunes. You can find it everywhere. And of course, you can find it on the Rank Ranger blog. That's the Rank Ranger blog. Check that out.
Yeah.
Also, don't forget to check out our Twitter page, the In Search SEO podcast Twitter page, for exclusive bonus content for the podcast. You get a deep thought by yours truly, plus some really risque, perhaps, or personal questions that we ask our guests and that we post only on Twitter. So that's at InSearch_SEO. The underscore is that like dash thing that goes down and not in the middle. So InSearch_SEO. Check out the bonus content. Also, sneak peek, although by the time you listen to this, it will most likely be out. Pixel rank tracking has come to Rank Ranger. Yes, you heard that right. Pixel rank tracking has come to Rank Ranger. But, and if you listen to this podcast, I am not the biggest fan of pixel rank tracking because it needs to be qualified. What do I mean? Well, you could be X number of pixels down, but be below the fold. How do you know? Or you could be, wow, I'm only X number of pixels down from the top of the SERP, but there's a giant knowledge panel to the right that the pixel tracking won't take into account. So guess what we did? we created the ultimate score, the absolute visibility score that incorporates pixel rank tracking and weighs in other SERP features or your position above or below the fold. So it's pixel rank tracking, but done right. Check it out at rankranger.com. Sign up for a 14-day free trial. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's no one else is doing this. This is completely revolutionary.
Mm-hmm.
So, bing. Awesome for Rank Ranger. Check that out. rankranger.com.
Yeah.
Free trial. Sign up. No credit card needed because we're not spammy. Okay. Had a blast talking to the king of Google patents, the wizard of patentry, Bill Slawski. But before we do that, Google has rolled out a new element on the SERP that I think is going to have a crazy big impact on the SERP, which is why we're judging the SEO impact of topical filters at the top of the SERP. Hit that sound, that resounding drum sound that we do. So usually I have a hard time trying to explain a change to the SERP to you, our dear listeners, because this is an audio experience and the SERP is a visual experience. But this one's really freaking easy. Okay, so you head to the SERP, you type something in, and sometimes now you're going to get a set of filters that, well, filter the SERP accordingly. For example, you search for top-selling vacuums, and you get filters for Amazon, Walmart, Dyson. Those are your three options. And guess what happens? And they show up at the very top of the SERP. And guess what happens when you click on one of these filter options up here? Come on.
Let me take a wild guess and say that
Wild.
it gives you a yeah, wild, totally wild.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you a SERP that is tailored to whatever filter you clicked on.
Because Sapir and wild are synonymous. Yeah, that's pretty much what you get.
Wow, shocking.
Mm-hmm. Very. Oh,
Wow.
you with the sarcasm again. Wow, look at that.
Look at that.
Yeah. Okay, so if you click, you search for top-selling vacuums, you get a filter for Amazon, Walmart, Dyson. Dyson, by the way, is a vacuum making company, in case you did not know that. And you'll get a whole. So this you click on the results from Walmart because you're not smart enough to click on the one from Amazon, right? You
What?
get
What?
what?
What's with the Walmart hate?
I don't hate
Come on,
Walmart.
Morty.
It's just not as good as Amazon. Oh, in store, I like Walmart. Oh, I love Walmart.
is great.
I have a jacket I bought for $3 at Walmart. I don't know. I'm literally 20 years ago. That's still good.
Oh wow.
Yep, $3.
Nice.
Awesome.
Cool.
Everyone said like, wow. I'm like, wow, great jacket, Morty. I'm like, yeah, $3 at Walmart 20 years ago. So I don't hate Walmart. Just for online, I prefer Amazon. But yeah, you click on that filter for Walmart, and you get a bunch of results just from Walmart, basically. Amazing. Can I gloat, by the way? Can I gloat? Just for a second,
Since when?
maybe?
Since when do you ask for permission? Like, we both know you're gonna do it anyway.
That's true. But I just want to be
Yeah.
courteous. Before I
wow.
before I act like an egomaniac, I want to be courteous. I, as in me, Mordy the Monster Oberstein, called this. I called this filter thing not once, but twice.
Mhm.
Once on episode 55 of this very podcast, there I said, Google will offer a visual element, as it does for image search, to filter results on the SERP. So holy dog feces, Batman, I'm a prophet. But wait, there's more. I said very much the same thing as part of an analysis I did when looking at Google's intent and when it goes too far. So that's the second time, and I said that back way even before that episode of the podcast that we did. So I just want to ask you one question. But we'll link to both of those places in the blog post for this podcast so you can see how awesomely prophetic I am. I have to ask you, Sapir, I mean, how does it feel to be in the presence of greatness each and every week?
Wow, listen, I'm shaking here. Like,
You should be.
oh, forgive me, great guru, forever having doubted you.
You are forgiven.
You know?
You are forgiven. Absolutely. I forgive you.
Thank you. I
Yes,
appreciate it.
bask in my glory. I could keep going. It's tempting. But I'd rather jump into what this filter means for SEO. Because all kidding aside, I'm not really trying to gloat, but a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But it has a big impact, okay? Because I think it's going to kill a very, very popular tactic. Okay, so the vacuum example, top-selling vacuums, you get the filter for Walmart, Dyson, and Amazon. While very jarring because it's commerce and it's going to just drive people away from your site selling the vacuum, that's not what the filter is for. Well, I think the filter shines are for queries like, and this is one that we saw when Barry Schwartz shared this on SEO Roundtable, how much do you need to retire? And there Google gives you a set of filters. Filters for ages, right? Because how much you need to retire depends on what age you want to retire. 70, 80, 50, 36, like me, love to retire. Or where the filter really shines is like for the query, like, and we're going to run with this one, best-selling books. Okay, where you get filters for books by genre, fiction, sci-fi, mystery, etc., 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 etc. So why is Google doing this, Shapir? Enlighten me. Why is Google doing this?
Well, seems like the user is their main priority with this change, right? Like, they probably just want to show better results and make it easier for the users.
So, like, yeah, totally. That is speak your language, by the way. So, like, yeah, totally. Did you understood me, like, really clearly, like, clearer than ever before. You millennial, you. Here's where it gets a little bit crazy. So, yeah, you're searching for best-selling books or whatever it is, and before the filters that you now see, what would you see if there weren't the filters there for the query best-selling books, other than ads, of course?
Books carousel.
A books carousel, that's true. You might see a books carousel, or in this particular case, I saw a feature snippet listing books, the best books. But Sapir, would these books in the featured snippet, these lists of these, a bullet item of the best books, would they be sorted by category, or would you get a feature snippet? Like, would you get a feature snippet like from the, feature snippet of the best-selling mystery books? Is that what you would get?
No, because it's not according to category.
Oh.
You probably just get a list of books. Like, it doesn't like, no matter the genre.
Right. The feature snippet's not gonna best mystery books because you didn't type in best mystery books. You typed in best books. You're gonna get everything. Right. Everything. Right. All of the best books. And Sapir, enlighten me. Why would a site create a list of all the bestsellers? Why not do it by genre?
They probably just want to reach a wider audience.
Oh.
If they make a list based on book categories, they kind of narrow down their outreach and might get less traffic.
Oh, yes. That's right. Wow. Casting a wide net, right? Grab users looking for mystery books. Grab users too guilty to watch porn who want a romance book.
Oh my God.
Get users who want a history. Get them all. By the way, I can't understand these, like the Daniel Steele romance books. Like, seriously? This is what you're reading? People read this crap? It's a genre of literature? Like, William Faulkner just rolled over in his grave and killed himself, even though he's already dead. Daniel Steele. What's the other one? My mother-in-law reads them. Jodi Picoult? Is that whatever? Please. My brain is just like exploding. My brain is saying, shoot me now. That's literature? Okay. Not going to go down that wormhole. Not going to go down that wormhole. So yeah, okay, you have this, right, mystery books, romance books, history books, all in one list. You're getting everybody. So the user sees that list, they come to your site, and then they start looking, you know what, like, a couple of books here maybe I'm interested in. Let me start looking by genre, because I don't really want a Daniel Steele book. That's ridiculous. I'm not that kind of person. I want a real book.
We have listeners who like that author.
Yeah, I don't mind. That's you're going to have to live with that one. All right? It's your guilty pleasure. I get it. Everyone's got guilty pleasures, but in public, I'm going to bash it. Daniel frickin' Steele. He slowly unbuttoned his shirt, and please, it's not literature. So yeah, you're gonna start. People will come to your site, but they're gonna refine their preference for book. I mean, that's just what generally is gonna happen. So now you have these filters. So you don't need that feature snippet to cast that wide net. You're just going to click on the kind of book that you want right up front. Right? I'm not going to go to this, Barnes & Noble has a list of the top selling books. I go, I look, and yeah, but I really like mystery books. Let me go shop for a mystery book now. Great job, Barnes & Noble. You got me to your site, and now you got me looking for the mystery book that I want. But Google cut that out. I mean, crazy what Google did here. It is crazy what Google did here. No?
What's so crazy about it?
What? They moved you down the funnel right from the SERP. So that top funnel, that top level content, you didn't even scroll down to see it in the feature snippet because bam, Google cut out the top of the funnel and has sent you to go find a mystery book if that's what you like, or your Daniel Steele books. That falls under crap books in the filter cards.
Wow, the genre, right?
Right. And this is not the first time, by the way, that Google has done this. Amazingly enough, Google's done this before. Do you know where?
When?
When?
When
Oh,
did it-
where? Zero-click searches, or by providing more answers. Right? So, 50% of all searches are zero-click. I think it's way less than that, but a larger number of them. That was Google cutting the cord on top-level content, top-of-the-funnel content. See the pattern here?
Right.
Right? You get it? Google wants highly targeted content from us, and it's pushing us to forgo this overgeneralized content, that top-level content, top-of-the-funnel content, and it wants us to give users highly targeted, highly specific content, and it's asking us, and here's the hard part, to trust them. To trust them to get the user from the general query of best-selling books to our highly targeted content. Right? So in other words, Barnes & Nobles would have to write 10 different lists. Best drama books, best Daniel Steele books, best mystery books, and then trust Google that, hey, when the user sees the filter up top for all these best-selling books and clicks on mystery, it'll show my list of feature snippets there. My feature snippet list, or the list that would go into a feature snippet. I'll get it right one of these times. Mm-hmm. In other words, Google is telling us with answers on the SERP, and it's telling us here with the filters, create targeted content, because the age of casting a wide net with your content is over. It is over. I mean, it's starting to be over. It'll be over in however long it takes Google to fully run with this. What do you think, Sapir?
Well, I think you should get more credit for your prophecy abilities.
That's what I thought. That's what I was saying. That's what I was saying the whole time. I didn't tell you to say that, did I?
Yeah, but as like a user, I'm loving these changes. Just lead me straight to what I'm looking for. Not having to waste any time filtering out the results myself. I think it's brilliant.
It is brilliant. It really is. For the user, it's brilliant. It's very good. By the way, this is about here with the filters and with the answers on the SERP. This is not the only time Google's sending the message to the content creators to go not top level, right? Top level queries very hard to rank for. Let's say medical niche, right?
Yeah.
Your super authorities are going to rank there. You're not going to rank there. Although for a niche query, a very specific, a very detailed query about whatever disease or pregnancy or whatever health topic you want to talk about, there you'll rank. That's also Google sending you the message, hey, we don't want you for top-level content. We have our super authorities for this. We want you for highly targeted, highly specific content. Anywho, now for a man. I love that. Now for a man who knows what Google's up to the nth degree. Because he is neck deep in Google patent analysis. He's the one, he's the only, he's the legend, Bill Slawski.
Here comes another search marketing expert. It's time for an In Search interview.
Welcome to another In Search SEO podcast interview session. Today we have an SEO wizard for you. He spins out Google patent patterns with pizzazz. He's the director of research at Go Fish Digital. You can catch his insights in SEO by the Sea. He is a legend. It is Bill Slawski. Welcome.
Hey, thank you very much. Appreciate being on here.
My pleasure. Absolutely. So I have to ask you, there's a lot of sea themes, the Go Fish Digital, SEO by the Sea.
Right.
Not accidental, I'm assuming.
I grew up on the Jersey Shore. We used to go fishing all the time as a little kid, and
Oh, nice.
It's something that I was working at an SEO agency in Havertide Grace, Maryland, and watching sales bouncing up and down the Chesapeake Bay.
It's beautiful over there.
When I came up with the name SEO by the Sea,
that's awesome.
I wanted to run a free SEO conference, sort of like a bar camp. The people who were watching it would post things that they wanted to talk about. And it was a good idea. Didn't end up getting too many people. Ended up with the website because of it, promoting it. and I turned the website into a blog where I just wrote about things I found interesting.
Well, it is quite the blog.
Thank you.
We have a little pattern going on here because I'm from New York, you're from New Jersey. Then you moved to the Chesapeake Bay, and I moved to Baltimore. So we're not quite there. One of these, I'll get close to California. I'll move to like Arizona or something, and it'll pan out.
So I was born on the Jersey Shore. We went fishing all the time, stuff like that. We moved away. We moved to Ohio, then we moved back to New Jersey, but not as close to the water. So I decided I enjoyed living near the beach. I liked the small town feel.
Yeah.
So I looked around. I said, San Diego has a bunch of small towns in North County that sort of have that same type of feel.
Nice.
Let me go. A friend of mine who lives in the area said, "Come out for a week, see if you'll like it. Spend the time, go on a vacation." And so I came. It rained every day for a week. So I looked at the weather back home in Virginia. It rained every day for a week there too, but it was 10 degrees colder.
Right.
So I said, yeah, I'm going to do that. So I packed everything up and moved and left a lot of stuff behind, and I'm glad I made the move. I enjoyed it.
I've always wanted to come out and spend a lot of time in San Diego. One of these days that will happen. My idea of the beach is Rockaway Beach. Like, Rockaway High School, like the Ramones. That's where I'm from. Yeah. Not exactly pristine beach property over there. Maybe a long time ago it was. Not anymore. We can talk about the beach all day long. Let's talk about, in case you have been living under a rock, folks, Bill is a patent maven. And I have to ask you, how did you first start looking? How did you get into this whole patent thing? How did they come about?
A couple different ways. One of them was there were a lot of people talking about a specific patent in the early 2000s. Information retrieval based upon historic data. And it was written by half a dozen SEO, search engineers at Google who were in the business for a long time. People like Matt Cutts and Jeff Dean, Monica Hensinger, some other people who just do that type of stuff. And it was filled with ways to identify if a web page was spammy or stale. And it came out with a list of a bunch of things. It was as if they were sitting at a bar somewhere writing on napkins. Here's another way. Just a big, huge list. And it was one of these patents that ended up getting rewritten and revised and updated like a dozen times.
Wow.
And broken down to different topics because it was too much information, too much stuff in one patent. It was like the stuff that domain registration length is a spammy filter if people only register for 1 year, which they got wrong. Mm-hmm. A lot of domains registers will register for 1 year, take your credit card information, and then automatically update you at the end of the year. So you don't register for more than 1 year. You register for just 1 year. It doesn't mean you're a spammer. Mm-hmm. A lot of times spammers would only there was a study called Spam and Statistics from Microsoft that was talked about German spammers who would get domain names and create subdomains on those domains, and they would create multiple subdomains because they only want to pay for one account.
Nice.
And register one domain name. So they came up with this statistic that showed that the more hyphens there were in the subdomain names, the more likely the site was spam.
Very cool. Very cool.
So Google was sort of trying to do the same thing with this patent with the domain registration. It's not really a good sign that a site is spammy, that it's only registered for 1 year. But a year or so after the patent was granted, GoDaddy came out with a commercial that said, register your domain name for 10 years. It'll help your SEO.
Look at that.
Matt Cutts came out with a video that said, just because we have a patent doesn't mean we're using it.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. It's on my list of things I have to ask you about. That just because there's a patent doesn't mean Google is using it. So how do you reconcile that? How do you deal with that reality if you're trying to use this strategically?
I research. I say, okay, who wrote the patent? What else did they write? Do they have white papers that are related? Do they have other patents on the same subject? Sometimes patents will say these are the related patents. So the one that came out in 2004 from Google on phrase-based indexing by Anna Lynn Patterson has about 20 related patents.
Okay.
So you don't publish one patent and say, okay, they're automatically using this. But if someone publishes 20 patents that are all related, say, okay, there's a good chance they may be using that.
Yeah. I mean, and some of the things that you write about, I remember you wrote about a patent that came out in August of 2018, right around the Medic update of Google sort of, organizing sites, categorizing sites. And you can sort of see that happen within the Medic update itself.
The website representation vectors patent?
Yeah.
They say, okay, we're going to classify websites based upon similar websites and features from those websites, and they use neural networks to classify those pages. And they said, okay, we'll take queries, and we'll look at query logs. We'll classify those based upon what we see in the query logs. And then if they fit in certain knowledge domains, we'll try to match the queries with specific websites. So we may have a query like treatment for diabetes, and we'll only look at health-related websites from doctors, written by doctors, for search results. So they're sort of narrowing the focus down of how many websites they actually have to look through to find an answer, to find web pages as a search result. And it makes Google much more efficient to do that.
Yeah, and it definitely plays itself out.
Yeah.
If you do a query, if you go top level, you'll get your WebMDs, your Mayo Clinics of the world. But if you go long tail, say a diabetes query, you'll get very specific, niche sites that deal with just diabetes for the most part.
Well, it said when they're talking about the classification part, we have some types of sites where we actually want answers from lay people.
Yeah.
We want people who maybe live with diabetes.
Right.
And they're answering questions about what type of diet do you eat when you have diabetes? And you don't necessarily need a doctorate or a PhD to tell people about what you eat every day for breakfast, lunch, and dinner if you're diabetic.
Yeah, I actually just quoted you in a webinar I did with SERP said about that the intent in that query is experiential knowledge, not academic knowledge. That's not the kind of authority that you want or Google wants to have on the SERP. If I'm trying to understand how to live my life by, I'm undergoing chemotherapy, God forbid, right? And I want to understand how do I live the fullest life possible. Some doctor at Harvard is not going to give me the answer to that, but somebody who actually went through that process will.
And if we look at the Rater's Guide, it talks about the results that they want to see. It doesn't necessarily lay out what the algorithms are that they are using. But it says these are what we want to see in search results that we expect to get answers for certain queries from.
Yeah. So is that like vindication when you see what you're reading about actually play itself out in the wild? Is that like complete vindication, like euphoria?
Okay, so I'm reading a book right now. I'm listening to a book because I'm using Audible a lot, and it's Once Upon an Algorithm. And the author is a computer scientist, and he said, okay, so algorithms are about computing science, not computer science, because you're not studying how computers work, actually. You're studying how people compute. And you're studying about algorithms are problem solving, how people address certain problems. And you see that when you read patent after patent after patent. They often start out with, this is the way life is now. This is the way people do things. This is a problem with that. Here's our solution. This patent provides an answer to that.
Mm-hmm.
So it solves problems. So seeing patent after patent talk about how they're trying to solve problems is really interesting and helpful. Get you an idea of what the search engines are trying to do step by step to make searching, indexing, crawling, returning results better.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to ask you, seeing patent after patent over and over again, you're sort of getting inside Google's head a little bit. That's got to change the way you think about things, the way you analyze Google itself, or think about Google itself.
Well, when people say my favorite author is Stephen King or so, and I say, well, my favorite patent writers are
Nice.
Jeff Dean, Tristram Upstill, Emily Moxley. These are people who write about specific types of things, and when I'm looking through patents that get published, granted, every week, I look for those names.
Yeah. I mean, Jeff Dean is a name that I don't think we talk about your Garys and your John Muellers of the world, but Jeff Dean is, I mean, when RankBrain came out, Jeff was all over the place. It's funny, you don't see him being so mainstream in the SEO community anymore. You think that's problematic?
You do see him producing videos where he's talking to very academic audience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've seen some of those, yeah.
And so he doesn't necessarily, his position isn't a webmaster evangelist like Gary or John Mueller or so on. Part of their job is to talk to SEOs, talk to the public, help people learn about search. There are other people like Dan Russell, who is a specialist in how people search. And he has a website where he puts up search problems, and he gets people filling in the comments with how they would find certain types of things, what they would look for, and what they did when they found those things. And he researches things like, why do people Google?
Nice. Yeah. That's good. That's very good. I think it'd be great if you had some of those deeper, or I would call them more substantial sort of elements, more what's the right word I'm looking for? More integrated into the mainstream SEO community, as opposed to let's stop talking about headers and let's stop talking about links for like 3 seconds. Let's get into some of the more deeper sort of stuff.
Which is partially why I like going through the patents so much. Each patent has a discussion where they analyze why they're doing things they're possibly doing. I read one last week, which was actually from 3 years ago, but it answered a question that was raised in search engine land about how search suggestions were appearing in response to queries that people were performing.
I was just reading that today.
Based on things that they'd seen in the past.
Right.
So one of the authors has written a lot about user data and stuff like that. And in this patent, he goes into it again where he talks about a rank modifying engine, which looks at data from things like user selections on search results and long clicks, how long people spend on the search results. And discusses a way of tracking that length of time using JavaScript or using proxies where the links go through different servers.
Right. You were tying that into that recent feature that popped up where if you're searching for something and then a couple of days later you're searching for something similar, Google will put up a suggestion, hey, do you want to search for this again, basically? Yeah. That's interesting to me because in a lot of these more peripheral places you hear about, okay, Google's looking at clicks or how long you're dwelling on a page, but when you ask, or people like Barry Schwartz ask Google, hey, are you guys using this for the algorithm? The answer is no. And I find that interesting.
And it's not being used to rank the results that you see in real time.
Right.
It's being used to rank those search suggestions.
Which is interesting because why would you use it there, but then not in the results? You don't have to answer. It's more you're not Google. I'm just throwing that out there.
Historically, things like dwell time and user click selection are signs of search satisfaction.
Right.
The things that show that people want to see the results that they're finding through search. They're spending time with those pages. So they also historically, things people from Google say, the webmaster evangelists say, those are noisy. They tend to be difficult to say whether or not somebody right-clicked a search result and opened up a new tab and left that open for hours.
Right.
They didn't spend all that time there. They may not have even looked at the page, but
Very true.
we can't tell that for certain. Or if somebody gets a search result, they click through and they get a phone call as they're looking at it. So they get their attention distracted. And again, it's not necessarily a sign that they read the page, enjoyed it,
right,
or so on. But
they did click it.
noisy.
They did click it. We can go down this wormhole forever.
So the snippet, the caption, the title, URL, and small passage of text by itself isn't the web page. It's just a representation of the web page. So if you click the search result, that doesn't mean you like the page.
Oh, so true.
That
Totally
just
true.
means you liked what was seen as a small snippet within a bunch of other snippets.
Right. Well, there's no real way to know if someone liked the page or not, other than asking, "Hey, did you like this page?" To sort of, which Google does sometimes. Hey, are these results good? Do you like this feature snippet? To bring this back full circle, how has, in a matter of practicality, how has your thoughts on Google changed over time by looking at the patents? What's your outlook been now versus maybe when you started looking at these things a long time ago?
They've given me lots more questions to ask myself. Lots of avenues to explore that I otherwise want to look for. And say, okay, this is something that's important. I mentioned phrase-based indexing, so that brought me to the concept, the idea of semantic topic models, and the fact that if you get a web page that's about the White House, you can tell it's about the White House by the presence of specific phrases on the page, like President of the United States, Oval Office,
right,
Rose Garden interview. These things predict that that page is about that. So those are the types of things that I want to include on my web page. I want to look, if I'm choosing a certain keyword, I want to do a search on Google for that keyword. I want to look at frequently co-occurring words. There was a computer scientist, I think his name was Firth, who said, "You shall know a word by the company it keeps." And that's a matter of certain words co-occur frequently. That's the basis of BERT.
Right. That's very. It's, all these sort of things by trying to understand like the underpinnings of. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's the basis of word vectors. Sorry, I misspoke. It's not BERT.
Either way, it's fascinating to hear you talk about this because I feel like so often we get very lost in the practical tips. 5 ways to do this, 10 ways to do that. And really getting into the underpinning of where Google is going directionally, and whether you're looking at patents or whether you're looking at, trying to understand the algorithms, whatever it is, that sort of directional look at what Google is doing, it gives you the ability to form an overall approach as opposed to, okay, I'll try these 5 tactical things, but it really gives you, in my experience, it gives you a way to say, okay, I think I'm going to approach the whole thing this way now.
Right, skate to where the puck is going to go.
Right, I like that. Hey, a hockey reference, nice. That's what made Gretzky great.
Right. So you get an idea of where things going. Doing an SEO strategy for a client.
Yeah.
You explain to the client why he's building certain pages. Okay. So you design this product. You want to show examples to different audiences of your website, what the products are that you're creating. And you build specific pages for each of those audiences and show them examples. And the idea here is you're creating pages that should appeal to specific audiences that answer their questions, that solve their pain points. Cover all those. Anticipate them. Plan for them.
Right.
And work with your subject matter experts, the site owners in most cases, and get a good sense of what those ideally should be.
So you've really used this to say, okay, I see where from the patents, I kind of see where Google's heading over here. Let me now tell my clients, let me try this with my clients. You're really putting it to action.
Yeah.
That's very awesome.
So a lot of the stuff recently has been about knowledge bases and knowledge graphs and stuff like that. And sort of see where Google's going with that. They're trying to, they were relying upon sources like Wikipedia, but they're sort of moving away from that toward building their own. It's like Google gets a query, they say, okay, we'll search for this query, we'll get the top, say, 1,000 websites, we'll build a little knowledge graph off of those 1,000 websites, and we'll answer the question in the query based upon that knowledge graph from those 1,000 websites.
It's amazing.
So it's no longer we'll use Wikipedia, which is convenient to use, because the reason why they abandoned the Google directory and using DMOZ was that they were human-edited sources that didn't scale well with the web on a web type basis.
Right. So this is basically one-upping Wikipedia.
Right.
It's amazing.
So if you can use all the news sources in the world to keep track of entities, keep track of who's in politics, who's in entertainment, what they're up to, and you can build little knowledge graphs on the fly.
That's an unbelievable advantage. That's unbelievable. I mean,
you're using the web as a scattered database.
Right.
You've got ways to collect that information and to answer questions related to it quickly.
I mean, that's like, and that makes Wikipedia almost look like, where it looked like a giant ocean before, now it's a pond.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Well, Wikipedia is human edited, but it also uses robots to do a lot of that stuff. But still, it takes time.
Yeah.
When something happens, a trade takes place in football, a country gets overthrown, an epidemic strikes and overtakes populations and changes life as we know it. These things aren't necessarily captured real well in Wikipedia. But in the news, they tend to be, if you're looking the right sources. Yeah.
And if you're a sports fan like I am, Google is very good at picking up when the player is traded. It could be. I mean, I haven't checked it to the minute, but I have checked it within the hour, and it's updated.
They do that with baseball too. I see that.
Nice.
And in the NFL draft, they were doing pretty well with that. Who picked whom for which teams? Yeah.
That's great. I saw that when obviously I'm a Steelers fan. If you in the audience cannot see this, but I am wearing a Steelers jersey and a Steelers hat. It was an accident. I didn't wake up saying I'm going to wear Steelers. Going all Steelers today. I need a haircut in the middle of COVID. I'm like, all right, I'm going to put a hat on today and just grab a Steelers hat. I was already wearing the jersey. Anyway, so we had a lot of injuries last year, right? Ben Roethlisberger goes out with elbow surgery. Mason Rudolph comes in. In the Carousel, if you search for Steelers roster, they pushed the starting quarterback, who was Ben Roethlisberger, to be like number 3, number 4. Pushed Mason Rudolph, who was a new starting quarterback, to number 1. When he went out, and there was another quarterback, they switched it the same day.
Who was running back for the Steelers last year?
Well, Connor was in there for a while. There was like running back by committee. Committee. Which is what our plan this year is, evidently by drafting some guy from Maryland in the 6th round. So don't get me started on that. That's another little pet peeve of mine. I think we should bring Jerome Bettis back. They're probably better than all of them, even though he's probably about 45 years old right now, but whatever.
I grew up in New Jersey. We moved to Cincinnati when I was
the Bungles. The Bungles.
Yeah. Well, not this last year. They've been making changes.
Yeah, well, they got the number 1 draft pick. We'll see what happens. I hope I was really, I mean, he's supposed to be great.
They had some really smart draft picks.
Yeah, no, they did well. I was surprised.
Packers.
Yeah. Hey, we'll see. And they traded, and they said, hey, here we go. We're trading Andy Dalton away. Joe Burrow, we're going with you right away. I was hoping the Steelers would have picked up Andy Dalton as a backup, but hey, that didn't work out.
And we moved on from Vontaze Burfict.
Oh, right. Perfect. Please don't mention that name to me. Please, that guy is a thug. Guy is, he should not be allowed on the field. Hey, we could keep going for this wormhole for a very, very long time. But I do have to ask you, we're talking about you're implementing some of these things that you're looking at and you're actually doing them. it's not perfect. It's not like you're going into Google asking them, okay, so what are you guys doing? Here's what we're doing. Okay, great, let me implement. You're theorizing. I mean, it's a good theory, but sometimes you're going to hit a wall or it's the wrong direction. We have to adjust this.
Okay, so I went to school for English. I went to law school after that. It didn't prepare me to be a computer scientist. It didn't prepare me to analyze the math and the science behind patents. But some aspects of it did. When I was an English student, we were studying literary criticism. We were deconstructing things people wrote, breaking them down to pieces, looking at aspects of it.
Mm-hmm.
When I went to law school, we were briefing judicial opinions. We were breaking them down into what happened in the case, what were the facts of the case, how did the courts hold, what was the rule of law, what was the legal analysis from the court's decision, how did that change things. We're breaking web pages down into the same type of thing, doing analysis to figure out what works well, what doesn't work well. And when somebody writes a patent, they do the same type of thing. Here's the problem we intend to solve. Here's what existed previously as solutions to that problem and why they don't work now. Here's what we're proposing as a new way to solve that problem. And here's the analysis for it. So it's not computer science in my mind. It's a logical analysis of how to solve specific problems.
Yep. And if you find that there's a patent that Google's not implementing now, chances are they'll probably use it or try to use it at some point.
They sometimes come up with things that maybe they won't implement, maybe they will.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times they come up with redundant approaches. Here's one way to do something.
Interesting.
And then something a year or so later. Here's
That's
a different
interesting.
way.
That's very interesting. It'd be cool to figure out retroactively which way they went with and then why they didn't go the other way.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Well, we can go down that wormhole also for a very long time, but I have to do this little game I call Optimize It or Disavow It. It's basically where I'm going to give you two good options and you're stuck choosing one good option over another good option, or two terrible options and you're stuck choosing one crappy option over another crappy option, which nobody wants to do. This is the Bill Slawski version of Optimize It or Disavow It. So you have one or the other, it's zero sum. You can answer it depends. That is a way to go. It is a cop-out, but it is a way to go. If you could spend all of your time analyzing either Google's patents or analyzing ranking patterns, ranking trends, algorithm updates, that sort of thing, which would you do? One over the other.
I go for the patents, definitely, without a doubt. I learned so much from the assumptions they make about search, about searchers, about search engines. With the studies, we often see large correlation studies on the web where the people creating those correlation studies, get to the point where they're saying, correlation infers causation.
Mm-hmm.
They could try to identify the causation. It's like sales of diapers increase with sales of beer at convenience stores.
That would be an interesting trend. Try to figure that one out.
So they studied it. They looked to see who was buying what, and it appeared that young fathers
were going out,
tasked with buying diapers, would reward themselves with beer. So there was a definite causation.
That's great. That's so good.
Yeah. So if you find a correlation, find the causation. See how they're. Don't just say, "Oh, look, a causation. Let's do a happy dance. Let's everybody use shorter URLs, and you'll rank in the top first page Google because you used a short URL." No,
right. I love that.
URLs tend to rank well.
I love that. I saw this. Oh, whatever. Oh, don't even get me started on the short URL thing. I literally saw that, and I'm like, oh boy. And with that, we're going to end. And people listening to this, chew on that last little piece of tidbits of information that Bill just went through. Bill, thank you so much for coming on. It was I can do this for another hour and a half, but we can't. But it was amazing. Thank you so much.
I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Alrighty. And we are back to your regularly scheduled In Search SEO podcast. Love talking to Bill. I actually get to chat with Bill a lot on SEO chat. Hashtag SEO chat happens 1 p.m. every Thursday with folks like me, Carolyn Leiden, and other guest hosts. Carolyn Leiden and I feel very much privileged that Bill joins us to chat as often as he does. He is a very much a regular, so come. I'm using you as a way to pull people in to come to check out SEO chat. He's often there. You should come, join, chat with Bill. SEO chat, Thursdays, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and talk to Bill yourself. So there's that. By the way, I believe SEO chat is probably the only grassroots Twitter chat about SEO. So check that out. Awesome. Awesome. Just downright awesome. Yeah. You sound exuberant, excited.
I am.
Cloud 9. You sound like you just ate a pound of hash brownies and you can barely move. That's what you sound like.
Wow. Your examples are always so interesting.
That's what my wife says. But she doesn't say it in that way. She says what are you saying? And don't say that in front of the children. Don't say what? Don't say anything. Don't talk to our children. Anyway,
yeah.
From my personal life to the SEO news, because they're intrinsically connected, of course. Sapir, could you please hit it with the news?
Reminder, if you have an AMP page, Google will look at that page when the page experience update hits in 2021.
So they're going to look at your AMP page, not your not AMP page. If you have an AMP page, so I guess reason to have an AMP page. So just when you thought, hey, no one cares about AMP anymore, here comes Google to tell you, no, have AMP pages. Don't forget about, don't forget about AMP. Don't forget about AMP. I like saying AMP. And where's the M with P? Pop. AMP. Okay.
Are you okay?
Nope.
Moving on. Google is testing using expandable tabs under...
Pop.
God help me. Okay, moving on. Google is testing using expandable tabs under images on the image SERP. The tabs expand to show what is basically a featured snippet about the topic or entity shown in the image itself.
Right. So let's say, I think the example I saw was something. It was like some sort of Nissan car, like the Z, and underneath were two little expandable tabs. I don't know, about Nissan cars or about racing cars or about sports cars, something like that. So you can learn more about the image or the topic that the image represents. Very interesting.
Right. Okay. Moving on.
Yep. Moving
Google
on.
says, yes.
Yes.
Shut
P.
up.
Pop.
Google says that a cool... Sorry, let's do it again. Google says that a cool million sites are using the rel equals sponsored link attribute.
Yeah, that was oh no, people said, no, that's too many. And then people are like, hey, well, it can't be that. And Gary's like, hey, Gary from Google, are you calling me a liar? It makes sense. I think it makes sense that there's a million sites using it. Why not?
Uh-huh.
It's becoming a thing.
Uh-huh.
Me to death. Yeah, I'm done. Whatever.
Okay. Moving on.
Mm-hmm.
Come July, Google will ban the use of anything clickbaity in ads.
Ooh, that's nice.
Ooh, yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Must suck to be tabula. Sorry.
Oh.
You ever? I love that. You go to CBS News, and you read an important article.
Mm-hmm.
And you scroll down looking for maybe some comments, other related articles, and you get this crap from Taboola. I'm this is a news page? This is authoritative content? You love you're CBS and you're an authority on the news. You're putting Taboola on your page. That makes sense.
I was shocked that you didn't rant the entire podcast. So yeah.
I didn't rant. I did not rant the entire podcast.
Now you did. Yeah. Now.
That's
yeah.
not a rant. I'll show you a rant. That's not a rant. This is a
That's
rant.
a mini rant.
Right. That's not a knife. This is a knife. You never know what that is, do you?
I have no idea.
Crocodile Dundee.
Who?
What?
What?
What? Crocodile Dundee? You never heard of that? You never heard of that?
I don't know.
That's right.
Arnold Schwarzenegger movie.
Arnold
Anyway.
Schwarzenegger? Yeah, anyway.
I'm kidding.
Big time.
I don't actually know. I don't. Okay.
This
leave me
we
out.
clearly know you don't know. Got it.
Moving on.
Moving on.
Moving on. Important updates to Google's Merchant Center. Google has released new attributes that let you list product specification, product highlights, etc. Also, come September, Google will require more specifications for certain products. For example, for clothes, you may have to list gender and size, etc. If not, the product won't be listed.
Yeah, so that's good to know. A lot of stuff there. Very important.
Yeah.
I should have something to say on this, I feel like. No, but you have to go read, definitely read the article. There's a bunch of different attributes there that you should look at. And they do, some of the changes do mean your listing won't show up. So definitely check that out. That's what I have to say about that. Okay, we got another one?
Yes.
Okay.
Lastly, Google says its smart display devices will start looking at AMP pages for content.
Oh, another AMP is back again. Look at that. Oh, Google says, hey, we're going to kill off AMP at the top stories carousel. And all of a sudden, oh, hey, before you all, throw AMP in the dumpster, light it on fire. Google Assistant, Google Hub. It's going to pull content in from AMP pages. Hey, everyone loves voice search, right? Everyone's going to love AMP pages now. Yeah, so there's that. Okay. Thank you for that, Sapir. Another incredible job with the news. Much appreciated. Thank you for putting up with me. More importantly than anything else.
At least you appreciate it.
I do. I don't say that enough. I don't say that enough.
With putting up with you, yeah.
Thank you very much for putting up with me. It can't be easy. The only thing worse would be actually being me. So consider that, Sapir.
Okay, noted.
Consider this. It's now time for our fun SEO send-off question. Sapir has a very good one this week. You've been on a roll lately. Really. Kudos to you. Slow clap. Because it's been lit with these questions, Sapir.
Really?
Yeah, I even see in the show notes you wrote like, hey, how about this question? I'm like, love it. Love this question.
Well, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so this week we're asking, what would Google use as an email password?
Great question.
Yeah.
Hell of a lot. I was going to go with something scandalous, like 30, but I'm not going to go in that direction. That's too cheap. That's just too cheap.
I would go with something like the name of the daughter of Elon Musk and, what's her name? Grimes.
Grimes? That's her name? I saw that he named her something like crazy. Her name is
Something
Grimes?
Something crazy. I don't even know how to pronounce it. No, her name, his wife's name is not wife, sorry, the woman he had a baby with.
I feel like you should be on top. I'm on top of all my old pop culture stuff. I feel like you should be on top of the new stuff. I feel like we have very delineated roles here, and you're letting me down.
Elon Musk had a daughter, right?
Right, that I know, and he named her something crazy.
Yeah, something weird with something like with numbers and stuff. I don't know.
He named her something with numbers.
Yes,
cracked.
Something with numbers. I don't even know.
That's correct. You know one thing. That kid is going to need an extensive amount of therapy.
Well, at least they have money.
At least they have the money for that. Hey, I can buy all the therapy we want. Okay, so what's the real password?
So something with like letters and I don't know.
Something with letters. Something with letters and numbers. That's very specific. Wow, you really knocked it out of the park with that one. Something with letters and numbers. But no, like symbols also? Or just letters and numbers?
Oh my god.
Wow.
Yeah, symbols as well.
Wow.
Why not? Bring it in.
Great. Good answers up here.
What's your answer?
Wow. I was going to go with the classic 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Right.
That's the code of my luggage. Which you don't get that reference at all from Spaceballs.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I know. I totally know. But my real answer is Search King. Capital S, lowercase rest, capital K, Search King. Because Google is the Tiger King of search engines.
Okay.
So at least I had some sort of answer.
That's a boring answer, but
yes,
okay.
your answer of numbers and letters and characters was much better. It was.
Much
But
better.
it was actually better.
It really was.
But not
This
for the
is
right reasons.
entertaining. Our
And-
job is to entertain, Morty.
And that'll do it for this episode
That
of the
will do
In
it.
Search SEO podcast. Don't forget to tune in to another episode of the In Search SEO podcast next Tuesday, because we bring out new episodes every Tuesday. Look for on the Brain Ranger blog. It's been In Search because we're all in search of something. Thank you so much, and toodaloo.